Hey guys, welcome back to Bombchu. I'm Austin, and today I'll be covering the Humble Monthly Bundle from January 2017. Happy New Year! This month's bundle sticks to the format of 8 games, 7 for Steam, and one of those debuting with the bundle, and a smaller experimental bundle exclusive game. This means we have a lot to cover, so let's get to it. I'll be giving my first impressions of each game and determining if they're games I'd like to continue playing. This month's exclusive title is Kimmy, a babysitting visual novel? I don't entirely get this game. It starts off with a child appearing, and your character thinks God has given her a baby. You quickly find out she's a kid named Kimmy, who was tied up to her front porch and managed to get out. No one thinks this is weird. You're offered a babysitting position and take Kimmy around to make friends and play games with them. And by play games, I mean take a quiz on the rules for these games. You also learn more about the other kids, but the only thing I found of interest was that apparently everyone in this game thinks it is totally normal to tie kids to things, so you don't have to watch them. I kept waiting for a dark twist or some real story, but really? The goal seems to be to play each game with each friend. It has an interesting art style, and the music fits the carefree theme. I just can't figure out why this game exists. The debut game this month is HoPiko, a speed platformer. You're some sort of being that fights viruses to keep game consoles running. Controls are very simple. You move by launching yourself in a direction, and can either tap a button to launch directly above you, or you can aim your launch, and you're trying to launch yourself into the virus. The game encourages speed, so aiming your launch is a bit more time-consuming and should only be used when necessary. The speed goals make you want to take riskier routes, skipping platforms or launching through moving enemies. Touching a wall or enemy other than the virus is instant death, returning you to the beginning of the 5-level run that you're in. As you replay the early stages in a run after death, you start to learn them reflexively, and it feels awesome to blast through them with a buttersmooth run. The music is excellent, comprised of chiptunes from the very consoles that you're protecting. My only complaint is that it takes a bit too long to get back to the action after dying or finishing a stage. But the game just came out, so that could always be resolved with a patch if enough players feel the same way. I'll play this one again. Our next game is Project Cars, a racing simulation game. There's usually at least one game per bundle that is from a genre that I just don't play. Usually I know enough to get by and give some meaningful perspective, but on racing sims, I just have nothing. I'm not even going to edit the footage. This is me trying to complete a race. I was outside the track line so much that my lap times were just invalidated. I really have a hard time with simulation racing. I barely get by in arcade racers. But hey, I'm here. I need to talk about it in some aspect. The graphics are good? I don't have much experience with other games to say for sure. It has VR support, which almost sounds more terrifying than playing a horror game. It feels like this game was intended to be played with a racing wheel. But at the same time, it also seems like anyone who already has a racing wheel would already have this game if they wanted it at all. I don't think Project Cars will ever enter my brain again. Next up is Mother Russia Bleeds, a side-scrolling beat-em-up set in Russia near the end of the Cold War. It starts off slow with a tutorial that's a bit longer than it should be, but once the game really starts, it really starts. You and everyone around get injected with something. As far as I've played, no one really knows what it is. You now have a syringe, which you can use to heal yourself or pump yourself up for a short time. Getting enemies near death allows you to fill your syringe up. This is a cool twist for the beat-em-up genre and fits well with the unique theme of the game. The soundtrack and pixel art are great, and it's a load of brutal fun. I will absolutely play this with some friends. Game 5 is The Legend of Heroes: Trails in the Sky, a turn-based JRPG. This uses the Ys 6 engine, but combat of course has been changed up to remove the action-oriented battles. Side note, I haven't played a ton of Falcom games, but the harmonica is important in every one I've played. Unlike the Ys games, there's a lot of dialogue and a long tutorial before you really get started. However, none of that time is wasted. Xseed did a great job with the translation, and dialogue allows you to get to know the characters. The tutorials teach you valuable information that wouldn't have been obvious otherwise, and they teach you in a way that makes sense. Looking at screenshots for the game, I was intimidated by some of the menus, but I was walked through everything I needed to know without it feeling like a drag. The art and music take me back to a simpler time for JRPGs, which is a real pleasure for me. I don't enjoy many turn-based battle systems, but the light strategy elements manage to make it interesting. I'd like to see where the story goes, and I think I'll continue on. This leads us to Neon Chrome, a roguelite twin-stick shooter. You travel through procedurally generated floors as you try to make it to the top of the building. As you go, you can find temporary upgrades that will stay with you until you die, as well as money, which you can use to buy permanent upgrades. You actually play as someone controlling a character of your choice in VR, which is a cool concept. And the music, once again, is great. It's less of a run and gun type of game when compared to other twin-stick shooters, but it's still decent fun. I think it would be excellent with a friend, and I can't wait to try out the co-op mode. Next is Yotan, a Norse mythology action-adventure game. The first thing that struck me was the art. It's gorgeous. Every once in a while when moving through a level, the camera will zoom out and show you a beautiful landscape. Levels can run on a bit long, but they exist to teach you the mechanics of whatever boss you'll be facing next. And the bosses are where this game is at. They are a joy both to fight and to look at. They do have a bit of trial and error to them, but it never took me more than a death or two to figure everything out in the couple of bosses I've fought so far. Once again, beautiful music, and a female protagonist. The two bosses I've fought have both been female, so I don't know if that'll apply to every boss, but it's cool to see here. I already own this game and had started it, but I definitely plan to finish it. Our final game is Warhammer End Times, Vermentide, which is basically Left 4 Dead with rats instead of zombies. I heard a lot of people compare this to Left 4 Dead before finally getting to play it, and wow, it really is Left 4 Dead. The interface, the level structure, they even have rat versions of the hunter, the smoker, the spitter, and the tank. It does set itself apart a little though. There's a rattling gunner that pushes you back and has to be flanked in order to be taken out. There are also classes, so characters actually play differently. There are guns, but there's much less focus on them. I think the biggest difference is the fact that there's equipment that you earn from completing missions. Instead of starting every mission off the same way, you can get more powerful over time and customize how you play. This is cool, but the drops rely a bit too much on RNG. When I finally got a piece of gear for the character I play, it was the exact same weapon I was already using. I think I prefer Left 4 Dead over Vermintide, but if you really liked Left 4 Dead and want something new, this will likely scratch that itch. I'll keep playing with friends and hope I get some cool gear. So overall, how was this bundle? I was pleased that I ran into no bugs at all this time in any of the games I played. There weren't any questionable picks, despite Kimmy being a really odd game, but I don't think Humble had much control over what the developer delivered. I only owned one game out of this bundle, and with a Steam library of almost 1,800 games, that continues to impress me. There was a good balance of well-known and not so well-known games, and a ton of great music all around. So how much bang for your buck was there? To total everything up, paying full price, these would all rack up a cost of about $135. Getting all these at their lowest sale price would cost about $57. This isn't as high value as December's bundle, but it's certainly well above November's value. Overall, this was a great bundle for me, with a ton of games that I plan to continue playing. Next month's bundle has XCOM 2, which I've only seen on sale as low as $30, and I can't wait to see what else is in there. Catch you next time.